The United Church of Zambia Njase Girls Secondary School opened its doors to the public in the year 1963. It has since then been offering secondary school education to the girl child. It is located in the southern part of Zambia in Choma town. It is undoubtedly the best female secondary school in Southern Province and one of the top 10 best ranking mission secondary schools in Zambia. Njase Girls has for 34 years now been considered one of the 7 most famous Zambian girls secondary schools in Southern Africa. It is located about 5 kilometers off the Lusaka-Livingstone Road. The United Church of Zambia Njase Girls Secondary School last year scooped the first position in the country in terms of results at grade 12 level. According to the analysis by the Examinations Council of Zambia, Njase Girls produced more pupils with first distinctions in 6 subjects, which included maths and science. Today on Know Your Institutions, we talk to the Njase Girls Secondary School head teacher. Stay tuned and let us learn more about Njase Girls Secondary School.
Hi, well, I'm Reverend Committee Njase. Welcome to Njase Girls Secondary School.
Maybe speaking about what Njase is, you may wish to know that Njase is a girls' secondary school which is managed by the United Church of Zambia. It opened its doors to the provision of girl child education, that is in 1963, well before our country actually gained independence. And it has stuck to providing education to the girls up to now. I want to state that many of our former pupils that graduated from here are actually dotted around this world, not only in the African continent, but in the several other parts of the world, and they are doing very well. In as much as the pronouncements in terms of academic results have not been made strongly, but we want to state it that right from the time the school's doors were opened, providing education to the girl child, the pupils at this school, just like the other competitive UCZ schools, have actually done very well. And the pupils that have graduated from here, a good number of them may be holding influential positions within the country and even outside. In terms of why pupils should come to Njase, I think the reasons are quite simple and clear. We are providing quality education to the girl child of this land and beyond, and that we have demonstrated in the numbers of learners that have been here before and are holding positions of responsibilities. They are actually performers in themselves. I think where you find a Njase girl, you would actually know that these pupils or these learners have been grounded. We offer not only the academic education to the pupils that come here, but we also look at the moral and the spiritual. And so our focus is not just look at the children getting good results and then go without there, but we want somebody with good results, but as they go out there, they should be people of good spiritual and moral standing. That is our emphasis. And so when people send their children here, they know that they are going to receive the holistic type of education. That is about our school. We offer a safe environment for the girl child. We offer quality education. We offer good health care. I think those are cardinal prerequisites for child care in a school setup. We are predominantly boarding. and we are able to look after our children very well in a boarding arrangement. I think as regards the topic for being number one in the 2020 school certificate examination results, I want to categorically put it that we've not had an official communication from the Ministry of General Education, but various stakeholders were actually indicating to that effect, and I would want to say that the results that are being emphasized in this regard are to do with the quality results. And when we talk of quality results, we are talking of the results from the grades 1 to 6. We seem to have done extremely well in that area. Out of the 174 pupils who wrote, we had about 162 scoring Division 1. I think that is what has brought about that popular story about our performance with regard to the last year's Grade results. In terms of the strengths that we have, we are predominantly a boarding school. Out of the more than 900 learners that we have, the number of day scholars usually does not go beyond 15. And so that is an indication that we are capable to take care of children in a boarding arrangement. We have adequate boarding facilities for all pupils that we are able to enroll in the school. So that is our strength. The other strength is that, just like I said in my preamble, that the school is run by the United Church of Zambia. I think the church is in the forefront to provide the necessary checks and balances with regard to the code of conduct for both the teachers and the learners. So to us, that is a strength, because the church would not just allow people to come and do whatever they want, but those checks and balances actually keeps us, they give us some kind of direction that we don't just do things anyhow, but we should be able to meet the expectations of society. And when we look at the church, I think it's an equalizer, and so when it is quite particular in the operations of its services and the social services in the area of education in this regard, we've been told that the checks and balances are actually very well monitored. The third part of it, the other strength is that more of our staff are actually accommodated in the school. The church has done its homework of providing, I think, more than 80% of accommodation to the staff that are working in this school currently, particularly the teachers. And so most of the staff are within, and so they are able to watch over the operations of the school, almost only 24/7 arrangement. So that is our strength. The other strength is that we have enough support we are getting from our parents. Our parents are not disappointing us in terms of meeting the obligations of school fees for their pupils. And so when they are paying, we are able to take care of the demands that go with keeping up the children in the school. I must also state that we have the necessary infrastructure, classrooms, stocked with furniture for each child. We have laboratories that are meeting the modern requirements of teaching science and computer, and also the practical subjects in the area of home economics. So the infrastructure we have is another source of strength. The other strength that we can talk about, though external, is that our curriculum we are following is the government curriculum, which is approved by the CDC on behalf of the Ministry of General Education. So what we are offering is actually meeting the standards that are expected in the learners, both at local and the international level. Those are among the strengths that we have. All our staff that we have are trained in their various subject areas. No one is seconded, and most of them are actually adequately qualified to handle our secondary school education. You talk of the majority, I think more than 75% of them being degree holders. That is an indication that they are qualified, and so are able to manage the teaching and learning of the pupils with the less difficulty. We have enough and well programmed what we call capacity building programs for our teachers at the school level. We have very well structured capacity building programs, which we call CPD, or continuing professional development. And so from time to time, teachers are able to sharpen themselves on the areas where they need to strengthen themselves, on the areas where they need to learn from one another. So on a regular basis, they are meeting, and so they are able to meet the changing demands with regard to teaching and learning of the pupils. We do not function without challenges like any other institution. We also have our own share of challenges. And among the challenges that we have is one, this school is sitting on a more than 40 hectares land, mission land, which is open. It is not fenced. So we have trespassers who can cut from any direction, and so we have challenges in that area. That sometimes we have to be security alert most of the times, and sometimes we face the challenges of some theft cases, and so that is challenge number one. Our land is open and not fenced, and so prone to trespassing. The other challenge that we have is the infrastructure is old. We can talk of 1963 when the school was opened, and I must state that a good work was done in terms of putting up these buildings, because if the builders that time did not do a good job, if it was a short work, these buildings would have crumbled. But the infrastructure, though is habitable, but it is aged, and we are doing a lot of rehabilitation to it. Yes, so that is one big area that is a challenge. Of course, we are surviving through the support from the church and from the parents. We are able to amend here and there, but our infrastructure needs overhaul. Unlike our counterpart government schools, which received, you remember, that was in the 70s and 80s. There was funding that came from World Bank just to do some rehabilitation, facelifts, This is my second UCZ school to work in. We don't have that history of receiving that financing from World Bank to work on the infrastructure. It was not there. Yeah, so the infrastructure is old, and we are spending a lot to maintain it and to rehabilitate it. The other challenge that we have currently is the cost of managing the institution amidst the rising cost of living. That is the biggest challenge. I must take our communications and our bishop there and our chaplain. The last time school fees in this school were increased was in 2018. I think last year we wanted to contemplate having an AGM that maybe we talk of making recommendations to the board before we can go to the parents teachers AGM. But the issue of COVID came in, and I think the church is very close on the ground, and you are seeing the way people are living, that they're experiencing some challenges. And those are the same people that are sending children here. Then you call them, they are experiencing problems in the homes. You call them here to say we are increasing school fees. That is, yeah. So we looked at that to say maybe let's allow this COVID issue settle. Then when the economy indicators are that things are beginning to peak, you know, people are going about their daily business, they are doing a lot of income generation, then we can look at that. But the market factors are different from the reality. Yes, cost of production, as they are saying, is high. You know, a lot of things are being imported from outside, and so prices every now and then are going up. So the value, the worth of our school fees 3 years ago and now is different. So our focus currently is just to manage the running of the school. The children should be able to feed. The teaching learning requirements must be there. When there is a bit of saving, then we can look at which area in terms of projects we can do. But the cost of living currently has hit us hard in terms of meeting the cost of managing the institution. The other challenge that we are facing is the demand for school places is very high. We do not want to call it like this year. We even changed the term to say, I think let's call it overflowing grace, that everyone wants to associate with us because of the good results. But we are failing to meet the demands of our school places from the immediate community, from the church, and also from any other person that may wish to access school places. Once what we have are exhausted, you may wish to know that even before I came to meet you, just when I was coming, a phone call came. I want a school place. So that is another big challenge. The demand is higher than we can offer. Yes, but that is limited by the capacity we can accommodate in our infrastructure. Basically, those are some of the major challenges that we are facing. Yes, talking of the school bus, Uton BAE 709, which is written Njase Girls Secondary. It was supplied by the local company on behalf of Uton, which is a Chinese company that is Trident Automotive in 2016. You may wish to know that the background to it is that the Ministry of General Education came up with a rule or regulation that when learners are traveling for education or other activities, they should not be carried on open tracks, and so they need to be transported in a decent mode of transport, such as a bus. I think that is what was the driving force. Of course, before we had a big bus, as big as that one, a Volvo, but it had outlived its usefulness, and it had to break down any time, and so we felt it needed a replacement. And it was such a blessing that within a year of engaging parents that they contribute to the procurement of that bus, we were able to meet the target, and we bought it within a period of 1 year. It is a 54-seater bus. It is modern. It was bought brand new. We sent all the necessary colors and writings that it needed to be done right at the factory, and it was transported from China on the ship branded Njase Girls Secondary. It arrived in Dar es Salaam, and people who saw it there and knew Njase, they would send WhatsApp, "We've seen a Njase bus." And it so happened that 2016, when we had our PTA AGM, the parents were expecting to see the bus, and it became a big question on proving ourselves that we are able to meet the expectation in terms of acquiring the bus within a year. But the question was made simple to us, because when it was asked, "Where is the bus?" just amongst themselves, the parents, before it even arrived in the school, because it was already in Osaka, a hand was put up. "We have seen the bus branded Njase Girls in Osaka. When is it coming to the school?" So it answered the question. So just want to thank the government, because the authority that we used to buy that bus duty-free was obtained from cabinet through the Ministry of General Education. Of course, the church was aware of what we were doing. That is how we got the bus. It has really been an exciting issue, because it did not only add value to a school, but even to our Ministry of Education and also to the church. It is quite handy, I must say, our communications and the bishop and the chaplain, that when the presbytery, consistories and congregations wants to use it, they always come and they find comfort in using it. Our ministry also of education, where we belong as a school, in a number of activities outside the province, as far as Muchinga, as far as I think the other time it went to, is it Western, it has gone to Copperbelt, they find it easy. They find it comfort, and we must state that we have a very good relationship with the ministry, that when they want help of that nature, we are always in hand to do that. That is about the bus. It brought a lot of excitement to our learners, and we really see it, that when they are on it and they are going for functions, it even boosts their morale. I think it also makes us proud. You know, when you are a parent and you were able to provide something which is attractive in the sight of other children, what you provided to your children, it gives us joy also. You know, when they go there, you know, they don't feel intimidated, you know, they feel encouraged and things like that. Yeah, so it is a good asset, and we appreciate that we have it. Yes, in terms of infrastructure, currently there is a focus on two major projects that we want to achieve in the next 2 to 3 years. One of them is the school hall. Currently we have a chapel where activities of spiritual and non-spiritual may conflict. So we want to solve that problem permanently. That we reserve the chapel for all our spiritual and related activities. Then when we manage to construct a school hall, that one will be multi-purpose, and that is the direction we are taking. Of course, with the population of slightly over 900 pupils, all fitting in the current chapel, with the new normal arrangements, it has become a challenge. And of course, the intention of putting up a school hall was arrived at even before the issue of new normal arrangements due to COVID were in place. We are merely actualizing a dream that was started by the administration that was before us. And so we are moving in that direction. I think so far the necessary formalities to have it started have been done, and the process has begun. The second project that we want to embark on, resources allowing, which should take shorter than the school hall period, is the construction of a classroom block, which is a story building. 3 classes on the ground and 3 classes on the first floor. So those are the areas. And we want to move with modernity. We've been encouraged by our United House complex that things are doable. Just from a 2-kwacha which each and every member was contributing for a period of, is it 3 years? We came up with $1 million, what we call state of the art. And so we have been inspired, and that is our direction. So the school hall project, the Bishop has started. In terms of our core values, I think we look at academic excellence. We look at spiritual and moral uprightness. Those are critical. They are seriously communicated even by our motto. Just by looking at the motto on our school logo, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So in that, you see the aspect of spiritual and moral uprightness in it. At the same time, when those issues are there of moral and spiritual uprightness, then the issues of academic excellence can easily fall into place. I think that is what has driven us. The church came with a policy in 2011 that through the education department, that when a child enters any of our schools, that was a policy that was meant for all schools, that when a child enters our schools at grade 8, we should be able to retain them up until the complete grade 12. And that is where we're moving at. So how do we achieve that? Spiritual moral uprightness. You engage the children in issues of worship within their context, looking at their different levels, so that they are able to appreciate the centrality of God, even in their life and even their academic life. And once that is done, you'd find that the other things would be able to fall into place. And once that fear of the Lord is there and they are wise, you'd find that they'll be able to respond appropriately to the instructions which the various staff in the school are giving them in the academic and non-academic lines. And so they should be able to excel with ease. You'd find they become disciplined, they become committed. They take care of their personal needs when they are on their own. And they are able to engage each other in areas where they feel they need to improve. They are also able to consult because the ground is fertile. And so, based on that, you'd find that our retention levels of learners, even as they cross over from grade 9 to 10, is not below 98 at any given moment. You'd find maybe out of 180, 190 learners who are writing grade 9, maybe 1 or 2 after a year or 2 may get statements. The rest they pass and progress. Because we are retaining a lot of them, they become used to the environment, they are well grounded in the code of conduct and everything else to do with the school. I think they are able to receive instructions and do very well, even as they get to grade 12. So the communication of our core values is through our motto. At the same time, through the programming that we put in the school, because the fear of the Lord is exhibited also in the way we begin our activities. For example, a meeting or a briefing, we start with a prayer or a devotion. I think that invites the presence of God and the Spirit, and so things begin to happen where the Spirit is, and it is a communication. Equally, when we meet the learners on the assembly or in their classes, they have devotion, so that is part of what we do. There are also guidance and counseling programs in the school where the pupils, especially the beginners, are oriented. When they come, there is an orientation of their life here. So that is a communication in itself. For the staff, every new staff that comes, they are received by the head teacher. They are passed through the chaplain's office, where they are sat and talked to, and also oriented on the way, the expected way of life of their stay in the school. At the end of it, they are made to sign a code of conduct. So that will always ring in their mind that there is this commitment that I've made. And I can safely say on behalf of the school administration that we don't have bigger challenges in terms of support to the school programs from our staff, both teaching and non-teaching. We also communicate to the parents through the newsletters that we send at the end of each term, where a few things about the welfare of the children is communicated in terms of our expectation. So part of what we put there center on values, like advising the parents to mentor their children in the way they should behave while it's in school at the time they're at home. I think that is something to do with the values. Issues of regulating what they bring in the school in terms of food, it centers on values. That their focus should not be on competing on who brings which food, but we standardize. That is an equalization. I think it centers on values. You look at even their dress code, it is regulated. Of course, when people are new, sometimes we have challenges because of what they see on TV and out there. Issues of regulating Even the issue of phone calls, the gadgets they bring in the school, phones are not allowed. And all that is limiting them to appreciate what they have at a given moment. And I think that is centering on values. We can go on and on. But I must say that in my conclusion, that Njase, like a good number of other youth-led schools, we are actually a pride to the church, because when you move around, even beyond Southern Province, people would want to associate with us. So to us, that is a blessing, and we just want to continue to do that which the church and the government through the Ministry of Education wants us to do in meeting the expectations for our country. The education provision to the young ones is actually the beginning of what we may call investment in our people. A country that does not invest in the education of its people is dead. And the education should begin from the young ages. Teach the child in the way they should go when they are young. And so we are happy to be part of the church's social services provision in the area of education. And when we hit national and international headlines, all we can do is thank God and appreciate the church for this responsibility which they have given us. I thank you.
Look out for the next episode as we take a tour of Njase Girls and interact with one of the teachers and the head girl. This episode was brought to you by the Synod Communications Department. Thank you for watching.